Hi, ladies. It's Marie. Hi. I promised a Facebook Live at 11:30 Pacific time today, and here I am. One of the things that I wanted to talk about was the victim versus warrior mentality or mindset. And I was just on the phone with somebody enrolling in my 8-week program to get that balanced life we're all looking for and get out of crazy busy, out of balance. And I'm always struck by how much pain and suffering is going on in our lives as we try to be there for everybody and can't figure out how to do the same for ourselves. And a lot of it is just feeling like a victim of our circumstances and not taking accountability or ownership over what is happening in our lives. And when we think about it, we don't do that in other aspects of our life. When something goes wrong at work or with your children or with your partner or even at the grocery store, we take action. We take action. We don't like something that's happening, we take action. And yet when we're not satisfied with our life, we somehow just rationalize it or cope with it or live in scarcity of feelings and opportunity, basically saying, well, you don't understand. I can't change this because you don't understand, this is what's happening. I just can't find my way out of it. And for some reason, we've gotten in the habit of not taking care of ourselves that we don't even know how. And that is a victim mentality. And what I teach in my 8-week program and what I'm trying to teach you here in these little Facebook Lives and quotes and things like that is that you need to take responsibility for your life. You have to take responsibility for your life. And you get to have it the way you want it. You get the life you want. You also certainly get the life that you are living because you're making choices every day, whether you realize it or not, and that results in your life. So I just wanted to go through what I mean by a victim versus warrior mindset. And I love this quote by Naomi Judd, believe it or not. And she says, you only get to be a victim once. After that, you're a volunteer. I mean, that is super powerful. When I first realized I was living in victim mindset, it just didn't sit well with me because I am not a victim in my life. In all aspects of my life, people find me very passionate and assertive and fighting for people all the time, but I wasn't fighting for myself or the life I wanted. And when things didn't go wrong, I beat myself up. Well, I should have done that better. When when I had a conversation at work or with somebody I loved and I didn't handle it well, even just saying that, like I didn't handle it well, I never ever considered that it could possibly be somebody else's problem or fault. It was always like, what can I learn about this? How could I do it differently? I don't understand why this keeps on happening. And hi, Pamela. Thanks for joining. And I just would always think that I was being responsible and trying to grow and evolve by looking at it and saying, what could I do differently? And the truth was, I was just finding ways to beat myself up. Because it was easier to do that than change what was really going on. So I just wanted to walk through a little test about victim mentality versus warrior mentality. So victim mentality is feelings of being treated badly by others or life being unfair. Do you see your life as unfair or things happening in your life as unfair or being treated badly by others? It's a perceived lack of power to change your circumstances. It's misplaced anger towards others who don't understand or never will. It's feeling isolated, misunderstood, alienated, shunned, or betrayed by people and things in your life. And most importantly, it's an inability to take accountability for your circumstances. So there's a lot of things going on in our lives today that we're not happy about and that we wanted to be different. And we need to take accountability and action for those. And it starts small with stopping beating ourselves up all the time and stop asking ourselves to be perfect all the time, but not expecting anybody else to be perfect. That darn perfectionism comes in again. And so a warrior mentality is taking responsibility for what happens in your life. It's resilient in times of disappointment and struggle, recognizing sometimes it just is. It just is. And the choice that I have to make in this moment that didn't go the way I wanted is that this is just what happened. And maybe righteous anger or feelings like that wasn't fair, and feeling it versus looking for a way to blame it on ourselves or learn from it, to feel the anger and get through it in an appropriate way. It's taking action when things aren't working and focusing 5% on the problem and 95% on the solution, because when we focus on the problem, the solution seems impossible. We have to focus on the solution more and be creative, because we are creative in every other aspect of our life when we need to get things done. We wouldn't be successful women if we weren't. Yet we're not creative in things that aren't going right in our hearts and in our life. We just can't see another way of living than crazy busy. And there's 100 million different ways of living than crazy busy. But first we got to clear the mindset to believe that it's possible. And it's feeling your feelings in a healthy way. Like I said, righteous anger. Anger is there for a reason. Fear, like we talked about in a couple Facebook Lives ago, embracing the fear and using it to propel you forward. And being able to communicate boundaries, which will be a subject of a future Facebook Live because it's super hard. But when something happens, and maybe it's a repetitive something, and you're like, here it goes again. There's a person at work that you just don't have a great working relationship with. And instead of going in each and every time, just setting up that expectation, what kind of boundaries can we set? How can we make this look differently to protect ourselves, but still do it in a way that needs to be done? But boundaries are huge. And they're, Brene Brown is my idol and I worship her. And, healthy boundaries are what she preaches. Boundaries are everything. And it was so hard for me to start setting boundaries in my life, even in little ways, because I didn't know the word no. I was there to please and serve everybody. And once I put myself at the center of my life and changed out of crazy busy back to being balanced in my life and having, I like the word centered better than balanced, but a centered life. When I had a centered life, I had boundaries because I came first. And when I came first, and I've said this before, everybody else got more. In my life, when I never was even on the list, I was exhausted and giving. And yes, everybody got a lot. But when I went into the healthy way of living my life and getting rid of all that crap in my head about myself and beating myself up and holding myself to perfection and got rid of all that wasted energy, I was able to set boundaries, put myself first, and everybody else got more. And I still could give to everybody at the same level. But I was doing it because I was doing it in a healthy way. I was feeling my feelings in a healthy way. I was expressing them in a healthy way. I was setting boundaries with people that maybe took advantage of me because I let them, and now setting loving boundaries or strong boundaries with people that I didn't feel so much love for. And they respected it, and we had a better relationship. So that's really important. And I think most importantly, living with intention and going after your dreams. That's a warrior. A warrior goes after things. A warrior cares about the world and wants to contribute to the world, but she understands she also needs to stay healthy herself. And she's going to live with intention about what she wants and how to get it. And she's going to go after that big life that she deserves. And even if we're sitting there right now, and so many of you are sitting there right now feeling exhausted and overwhelmed and wanting more in your life, but not knowing how to get it, not even knowing how to put yourself on the list because you've been living this way for so long and it feels scary. Maybe needing to create boundaries at work and leaving so that you can be more present in your life with your partner or your family. Or maybe it's making time to go out and date and find somebody in your life. Whatever it is, those moments where we put ourselves first are scary. We don't know how to do it. When we become selfish, well, selfish is an awesome thing. Healthy selfishness is an awesome thing. And it's your way out of crazy busy. And we got to start practicing that. So I want you to recognize in the next couple of days how many times you are blaming circumstances on your life, whether it's time or lack thereof, or it is, you don't understand I'm the breadwinner in my family, or, I have a kind of job I just can't leave at 5. There's no way I can work out in the mornings because I have X, Y, and Z. You don't understand I don't have time to date. You don't understand I can't volunteer in class, which like the other moms that don't work. You don't understand I can't not go on a gazillion business trips. I want you to be aware of how many times you're making excuses for things in your life and creating these black and white scenarios of I can't, I can't, I can't. And just recognize what's happening in those moments and what you're telling yourself in those moments, how you're feeling in those moments, because it'll tell you a lot. And I imagine you're feeling pretty small and sad. And it's time to get creative and really focus on what we really want out of our lives and then creating plans to get there. And a lot of that is changing the way that we think and how we approach things in the world and getting rid of perfectionism, getting rid of all the lies that we tell ourselves, and starting to live with a clear mind in order to be able to be our best self every day. And my 8-week program takes you through that. It breaks all the junk out, takes all the junk out in the first couple weeks, and then builds you back up to living a healthy, centered life with boundaries. So I'm going to say bye. I'm going to say I want you to look at things that you're doing that are living in victim versus warrior. I want you all to be warriors out there because I know you're warriors in other aspects of your life, and stop being a victim when it matters most, which is when it's about you. Okay, so bye. Have a good day.